Hello, hello. How are you all tonight? This is Amy from Cookie Snack Attack and Seriously Sweet, and this is our special guest instructor tonight, Jen Moshier from Prima Cakes and Cookies. Hey, Jen.
Hi, how
How
are
are
you?
you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Sound is good on your end?
Yep,
All
yep.
right. Well, let's say hi to a few people. You guys, as you're coming on, tell us where you are from, where you are watching from tonight, or where you live. One or the other. Either one's okay. Just make sure you say hi. Hi, Camille. How are you tonight? Hi, Lavelle. It's good to see you. Now, guys, if you are watching from Facebook, but you did not grant StreamYard permission to see your name, you're going to show up like that and like this and like this. So go back to the top of the video and grant it permission to use your name if you want us to know who you are, or just type where you're from and your name, and we'll go from there, okay? Hey, Miss Sandy. How are you? Alabama's in the house, Jen.
Yay.
Mary Ellen, hello. Hi, Deborah. Hey, Nicole, how are you? Mary Ellen is from Indiana. Thank you. We're glad you are in the house. Hey, Sheila. And Sheila,
Hi,
I didn't know
Sue.
you were in Michigan. Did you know she was in Michigan?
I did not.
I didn't. That's cool. Barbie, how are you tonight? Barbie, there's something in the mail for you. Hey, Elisa, how are you? She's from Southern Maryland. I think you met her at CookieCon one night when we were hanging out. And somebody's watching from San Antonio, Jen.
Okay.
Another hello. Camille's from Utah. We've got Debbie with us. Hey, Debbie from Texas. Let's see. Somebody's cold. Who's cold tonight? Hi and cold. Southwest Florida's cold tonight, Anna. It's cold here. I actually have a blanket wrapped around my legs tonight in my video studio because I told my husband, I was like, the floor's so cold in here. Hey, hey, Jen, how are you? Hey, Kentucky. Let's see. We've got New York. Do we have any?
Wow.
And Becky is from Texas and our soggy Central Oregon in the house. Northwest Florida's cold too. Nicole is saying, hey, Nicole. Oh, and Wisconsin's cold. I feel like we're there with you guys. I hope some of our Westies jump on and tell us how warm it is. Hey, Karen. Karen's from West Virginia. Who is this that has snow? I'm a little jelly. I love snow, but I just like pretty dustings. Who is
So
that?
my uncles just said they're in upstate New York and
Oh,
they just got their first snowfall.
oh, fun. Maybe that's one of them. Would they be on here? Hey, Kathy, how are you? Tennessee. I love that they watch from so many places. It's so much fun. Oh, Janie's saying her side of Oregon too. All right. Well, I guess it's coming in, y'all. But the floor in my cookie room is cold. I put on my Uggs, and I don't care if you think Uggs are dated or not. They're my favorite thing. They're my favorite footwear. When my toes are warm, I can function. So I grabbed my Uggs. Hey, 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 who is this? Western New York here with some snow. Okay. Hi, Dallas, Texas. Hey, Miami. Who's in Miami? Who's watching from Miami tonight? Is my niece on here? Jen, do you have any family watching?
I don't.
No, not tonight. Okay. Well,
Not tonight.
we'll be your shout out crew tonight. Wait, Becky says her AC is blowing hard. It must be hot in Texas where she's at. How
It's not
funny.
hot here.
Well, thank you
Jersey's
guys
cold.
for it is cold where you are too. Uh, well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We're super excited to have Jen with us. Was very fortunate to get to take her elective class at CookieCon in Dallas, and it's painting with cocoa butter. So she designed a cookie just for us tonight, which you can see on the large part of the screen. So she's going to show you how to do that beautiful poinsettia cookie. And I have to tell you, my opinion, if you struggle with painting or you're just getting into painting, you should definitely start here. This gave you time to blend. It let you build color. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful medium to work with. And of course, Jen's going to do her normal tonight and make it look so easy. But what it is that you can make it easy by following a good instructor. We know that's the truth, right? It's really not always
Yep.
easy. Like we say, oh, you can do it. We mean you can do it, but you just have to have a good instructor. Hey, we've got a few more people that want to say hi. So Sally is here. How are you tonight? Sally, where do you live? I forget where you are. Oh, good. You got turkeys. Fantastic. Lavelle, hey. Let's see. Gwen's here from Louisiana. Allison is a local person here in Culpeper. She made it. Good to see you, Allison. Gwen, Gwen from Louisiana. So it showed up. Okay, good. That's showing up, Gwen. You're good to go. And Ohio, Kelly Miller's here. My friend Cindy is here. She's from Louisiana. And
She bought a cookie
Sally,
cutter.
yes. And Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple. Oh, that's funny, Sally. I didn't know that. So Sally is our group blogger. She has two blogs, like a 13-year-long food blog and then a recently started cookie blog. And she just she'll create her own things, but she also follows people and then does a write-up on them. So we'll see if Sally has time. Maybe she can give you a shout out at Prima Cakes and Cookies.
That would be awesome.
If Mickey is here from Texas, Denise is here from Mississippi. I just love this. Laura, both of us, if you didn't know Laura before CookieCon, definitely you met Laura that night.
I did.
All right. It's so nice, you guys, see where everyone's from tonight. And for me at Seriously Sweet and Cookie Snack Attack, if you guys have not signed up for live text alerts yet, there's a little blurb at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to take that off so it doesn't distract from what Jen is doing. But if you haven't signed up and you want to, text the word live stream, all capital letters, all is one word, to the phone number 540-870-0726. Follow the prompts. And between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on any day that I go live, you will get a text alert. That way you won't miss anything. Okay. So Jen, I'm going to take that off. And then don't forget to tell us all the cool stuff about painting with cocoa butter. Okay. And I'll try to watch questions for you.
Okay.
And I'll actually, can you see, which can you see large on whatever screen's in front of you? Do you see Jen's hands or your face?
My Jen hands.
Okay, so when I put a comment up like this, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for now, going forward in the video right now, I'm just going to put up questions. So you guys feel free to have whatever kind of chat you want to have with each other over in the chat area. But I'm only going to post the questions for the next little bit, and then we'll come back to the chat later. Okay. All right, Jen, take it away. It's all yours.
Okay. See, I don't program what I'm going to say. This is off the cuff.
That's okay. We like off the cuff. Spontaneity is good in this group.
And, when I was teaching in Dallas, I don't think any of the classes were identical. They, the content is, but what I say is totally not. But I'm Jen from Prima Cakes and Cookies. So thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to teach you how to paint with cocoa butter, but a little bit about me. I'm a hobby baker. I do this on the side. I went to school for graphic design. And when my career started taking a turn into programming and stuff like that, I needed to find an outlet for my art. So I used to watch all the Food Network shows. And now I'm on a Food Network show, but that's another story.
That was pretty cool. I got to see all the pictures from last night. Was it last night? Or the night?
It was last night.
Yeah, that's so fun. So fun. You're doing great.
Yeah. So when watching all those shows, I was like, I can do this. So I started, cake decorating, and then I got into sugar, which is I'm the sugar artist on Holiday Wars. And then I got into cookies. I've been doing cookies about 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. So I've always had, I can kind of paint, not really the best painter. I'm not an illustrator. I was a graphic designer. But I knew, I go and find pictures that,
so pretty.
If you look, it's identical, only flipped. I flipped the picture. But this is basically the poinsettia that inspired me for this cookie. And so then, I just try and find inspiration, and this is where I find my colors. Like I can see in here, we've got some yellow, we've got some pink, and we've got red, we've got greens. So that's how I go and pick what colors I want to paint with. I just go and find drawings for inspiration.
Well, thank you for doing a new cookie for us tonight too.
Oh, especially, of course.
You're kicking off the holiday countdown here. We love it.
um, so when I started, why I started painting with cocoa butter, I painted with gel colors. I painted with just markers, and markers are cool.
Mhm.
They're neat. They give you that watercolor effect. But I liked cocoa butter when I started playing with it. I felt like it was painting with oil paint. So if
Right.
anybody does paint, like you can get that equation to it. It blends really well. You can layer stuff. What I did notice with gel colors is you can't really layer gel colors because they kind of seep into each other, especially white. When you paint with
Mhm.
white and a gel color, it's gone in a couple of hours.
And you know what I noticed? It didn't affect my icing at all.
Right. It
It
doesn't.
no pitting. I could layer. I could keep doing very small layers. My icing was just as gorgeous as if I had just flooded it and run it through the dehydrator.
Right. So the only thing that does happen, like if you layer too much of the cocoa butter, you can actually lift up the layers that are below because
Oh,
it's
I didn't get there yet,
right.
Jen.
So, because it's, you're remelting what's below it. When you start putting hot cocoa butter on something that's
Mhm.
dried, it's just going to lift it. So that's the other thing about cocoa butter. It dries almost instantly. So
Mhm.
that was also the nice thing that I preferred over gel colors. But if you can see these white lines, I painted this cookie 2 weeks ago. So
And you
the
can
white
still see
stays.
them.
So
Yeah.
that's why I also started liking painting with cocoa butter.
Wow.
I got asked a lot of questions on, can you package these up? So this is dry. Like, got a little bit of a waxy feel, but it's dry. It can go in a bag. And, in Dallas, I was rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. When you do a lot of rubbing, yes, it's going to rub off onto the bag.
But
But
only
just sitting
because
there.
you heated it up, right? Otherwise,
Right.
it's
Well, my
fine.
hands got hot, right?
Yeah,
And yes,
right,
it's heating up that cocoa butter again. So this is definitely not something that you can ship to anybody in the
right.
summer because they're gonna melt, right? It's chocolate. And then I think it gave like a little bit of a taste to the cookie, but not bad. Like I still tasted, I put cookie nip in my icing. I could still taste that. And I
I
could still
gotcha.
taste my cookie. It slightly changed the
Yeah.
flavor. I
I
didn't think bad at all.
I got some cocoa butter in just off Amazon like you told us to when I got home and tested it out. And I think you tell them what you recommend for dust, but I just tested it with the sugar art color that I
Hmm.
had. And I couldn't taste it. I mean, just
Yeah,
it was like so mild that it was,
it
and
is.
especially if you did this on a chocolate cookie, you would never pick up on the hint of it at all.
Oh, that you definitely wouldn't. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so slight. So for the cocoa butter, I started out, I had bought like, you can buy bricks of cocoa butter. So I started with that and I was chiseling away and it was just awful. So I started looking for cocoa butter wafers. And they literally are just like your chocolate melting wafers. And I like them because I started thinking, I'm like, you know what, these are going to melt just like when you would melt chocolate for anything.
Right.
It's the exact same way.
And
Um,
Jen, isn't a bag like that around $15?
I think this was 10.
Okay. Jen Saher, if you're still on here and you have time, would you jump over to Amazon and find a link for a cocoa butter wafer just to put something in there for later viewers, please? She'll drop links for you,
Yeah,
Jen, if you need something.
that's great. So once again, like this brand, they were out of stock when I was doing Dallas, but it looks like they're back in stock. Um, is it painted? Yeah, it's not painted straight on a cookie. We're going to get to that. We
Yep.
are actually painting on an iced cookie. So it can paint straight on a cookie, but tonight we're not.
Okay.
But so this brand is back in stock, but it doesn't have to be this brand. You can use
Yeah.
any cocoa butter wafer that you want. It's not brand specific for what we're doing.
Okay.
I prefer crystal colors powders just because I've been buying them for years. I stick to one
So
set
you
of
have a
powders.
ton of them, don't you?
I do. I have I almost have their entire line, which I think is
Oh,
I want to say 40 or 50 different
wow.
colors.
Wow.
I'm not positive. Every time I see them at a show, I buy 6 more colors.
Buy the new colors. I bet my
Well, not
sugar
even
art,
new.
my
So
sugar art collection could give you a run for your money there. Funny how we do that.
Yeah. You don't have to use crystal colors. You can use any powders that you want. I just prefer these. I like them because they're one, they're made here in the US. I think they live in the Midwest somewhere. I don't forget where they're from. They're a really sweet couple. And it's US certified. So it's FDA approved. And I'm like, I'm a big person on FDA approved. Everyone has their opinions. We're not getting into that conversation.
Yeah. No, let's skip that. That's for another night.
That's another night, and that's okay. You do you. I'm gonna do me.
You know what I always tell them? Your grown-ups make that decision. Here's pros and cons, and just
right. So that's just my reasoning for these colors on why. When I had started collecting these, I didn't know about the sugar art. I didn't know they were around. They may not have been around yet at that point. I don't know how long they've been around.
I don't know. I've been so many of the people in this group are true new cookiers that they won't know who's been here how long.
Right.
And
right.
companies I don't either.
I started buying their colors in 2012.
Yeah, because you've done cakes.
Yes. So I was using them on cakes before I started using them on cookies. So I just I stick to one thing. Talking about sticking to one thing, my paintbrushes. I keep a set of paintbrushes for everything. I have a set of paintbrushes for cocoa butter. I have a set for my gels. I have a set for my dusting. I have a set for everything. I don't like to mix my paintbrushes.
So Jen, if you ever watch any of my dollar store episodes, my Dollar Tree episodes, I get those dollar toothbrush holders. And so any brush, no matter what style of tip it is, all my gold ones are in one of those toothbrush holders, all my silver, all my rose gold, because it's just so much product that you lose.
It is.
Right.
It is.
And I like to, I don't like to worry about it. I don't like to pull out. If somebody has an allergy, I want to just use what's okay for them. I don't want to worry about cross-contaminating. That's why I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have that for I have a separate mixing bowl for gluten-free.
Yes.
So,
I mean, it really, people's allergies are very serious, very, very serious.
They are.
One sec. How about this one? Can you tackle that real quick?
Brand is Crystal Powders. I'm not sure.
What's the brand you just said that you're using?
Oh, Crystal Colors.
Crystal Colors.
Crystal Colors by the Sugar Paste. So it's sugarpaste.com is the website.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably could use the Elite powders. So once again, I don't know for sure because I only have this.
I tested one Elite powder color from the Sugar Art. It was a green. Master Elites, you can't go by that because they're not the same color in the jar that you paint, that what they turn into. So the one that I tested that was a Master Elite, the cocoa butter didn't activate it enough to change it to its true color, but the Elite color, it worked. It did, at least on the one. I only tested green though, guys. So get to experimenting and report back. And other brands too. Some of our members use Bakel. They have a lot of Bakel colors. So you guys experiment and let us know what happens.
Yeah. So unfortunately, because I stick to one brand of stuff, I don't really know. And I was going to say, like in Dallas, I was saying, I know there's the chocolate colorings. Does it work in cocoa butter? I have no idea because I don't own them.
You know who's on here? Sally Newton is on here. Sally, do you have Sugar Prism colors yet? Because I'd be interested to know if those work if you try this for your blog.
Well, there's also besides Sugar Prism, there is the chameleon colors.
Okay.
By who makes them? It's the same company that's making Sydney's new airbrush colors.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, we'll check on it. We'll check
so they have
that.
a chalk. I mean, it is for tinting chocolate. So I would assume it would work.
Maybe we need to have you back for a mad scientist experiment night. They love it when I do mad scientist experiments. Maybe after Christmas.
I'd have to go and buy them all.
Well, maybe you can just come back on and we'll go through my stash because I do test all
Okay.
this stuff. So maybe you
Okay.
can just come back on with me and I'll pull out everything I have and we'll see what it works with.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Is this it what you're looking for? Artisan Accents?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you,
mean
whoever posted.
that is meant for tinting chocolate. So I would assume it would tint buttercream. But I don't know, not buttercream, cocoa butter. I don't know
Gotcha.
how it would paint. I don't know if it would paint the same way because I'm getting different shades here because of the different color powders that I'm using.
I gotcha.
So I mean, they have one blue.
I know what we could do if we have time. Like, there's never any extra time at CookieCon, but I know we're both going to be at Reno as elective teachers. Maybe I'll bring a selection with me and we can have a test night when there's nothing going on one night.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be all right, right? We can have a midnight madness. Like, there's not enough stuff to do. Just kidding. There's plenty at CookieCon, but I'm just saying that I have a huge line. I mean, just everything, right? Because we experiment. So I'll bring it to you and let you go crazy. I'll do that.
That would be
That's
awesome.
what we'll do. So you guys are going to have to wait till the spring because it's not worth her buying all of the colors and all of the lines to try this.
We just have a play night. We do it while we're in Virginia.
Oh, we can do that. Yes, at the cake show, because that's going to be at the end of March, right? Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. That, like, the schedule for the beginning of the year, when I actually wrote it down, I was like, oh my gosh. I had to take a quick breath because maybe I'm going to be getting to go to Canada. So I don't know. We'll see. But
right. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So, all right. So to melt cocoa butter, I melt it in a microwave. And I just melt it in a simple little Pyrex glass dish. I started melting it and it hardened on me. But I melt it in a microwave because it's the quickest way to do it. And you're melting it just like you would wafers. You're melting them in 15-second intervals and you kind of swish it around. So we'll do that while I continue talking on the other stuff.
I wanted to ask you something too. If you wanted, after it's heated and in its liquid form, do you know the little bases that they use to melt candles on? The candle warmers. Could you put that Pyrex on a candle warmer?
Yep. So actually, there's another artist, Michelle Boyd, who I learned cocoa butter from. She actually uses those candle warmers to melt her cocoa butter.
Okay.
She uses that. So when I started doing this, I was like, I wanted to do it with things that you had in your house. That you didn't have to go out and buy something special.
Yes.
So when I warm it and how to keep my cocoa butter warm, I use what everybody has, especially cookiers, a heating pad.
I love that. When I saw that, I was like, what are we doing when I walked in the room? Because I had no idea about any of this. I was like, what's happening in here? Because I'm down if we're like getting a shoulder rub or something.
So I just use a simple heating pad. So once you can see it's starting to melt and I'll keep swishing it around. I've only had it in there for 2 times at 15 seconds.
It's so fast.
When it to keep it at its temperature, I'll keep that glass on the heating pad, or sometimes a lot of people have these mug warmers. This will do it as well. You just plug this in and you can keep the glass on there and it will keep the cocoa butter melted while you're painting and while you're doing other things.
Do you know what this brand is that they're asking about? Melt My Cocoa Heart?
I've heard Martha, but I don't know that brand.
I'll try to look that up later. Whoever posted that, because I can't see who it is, send me a message on the Cookie Snack Attack page and I'll add that into the things you guys want to see.
So here we go. We're now completely melted. And as you can see, I only melted 3 little wafers, and that is going to be way more than we need. Now, I'm also only doing this for 1 cookie. I've never painted a whole slew of cookies to give to somebody. I've only ever painted 1 cookie at a time. But this is way more than I will need.
Gotcha.
The other reason I keep the heating pad is I use a plastic palette. I put my little powders, and I actually just
Right.
I use this little scooper thing that I got years ago at a cake show. So I'm not sure where to buy this
I
anymore.
have one of those and I don't know where it came from either, but isn't it cute?
So I'm trying to think. So actually,
Was
it's
it maybe from, I was going to say
Diane.
Borderlands. Do you think you
No,
got
so it's
that? No.
not.
Okay.
It's it. I'll come back to this live, and I'll put it on.
Okay.
On the National Capital Area Cake Show. They're actually going to be a vendor there this year.
Is it
And her,
Grunderfully?
no,
Okay.
that's Grunderfully Delicious, but it's Diane Gruber, and
Okay.
it's her store. She's actually going to
Okay.
be a teacher there as well. Her store
Okay.
is where I got these.
Okay.
And I can't for the life. Once I see the name, I'll know exactly what it is, and I
Well,
can't
just drop
off
it
the
in
top of.
later. It's
Yeah,
super handy though because
it
it
is
scoops, but it's a small quantity, so you don't get heavy-handed. You can
exactly. It's
see in the
oh
palette,
perfect.
you guys, how little she needs.
I literally am just doing that much. I don't even fill the scoop. It's just a little bit,
Yeah.
and it goes a long way. Um, the reason though, also I keep the heating pad is once I put the cocoa butter in here, because I'm only putting a drop, and when I say a drop, it is literally just a drop.
Right.
It's gonna harden really fast because there's not a lot there to keep it warm. So I keep this palette on my heating pad, and obviously the heating pad's not going to melt this plastic palette. We're good that way.
That's
So now
fantastic.
we're going to go to our cookie.
Can you guys see the sections, how she has it sectioned off? That's how she got all that cool dimension. Isn't that beautiful?
So
We did a butterfly and a blue flower.
Sunflower. A
Sunflower. We did a sunflower and a blue butterfly.
Blue butterfly.
At
Blue is
Dallas.
my favorite color.
That was beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Thank you. So because I'm not a painter, I let my flooding skills paint for me, right? So I do dimensional piping. I pipe the sections so I get the lines, and we all know how to do this. This is really easy.
Right.
Everybody does this all the time.
Right.
So when I'm doing this, I'm basically going to paint like a 5-year-old because I'm just going to throw color and I'm going to move it around. and that's how we're painting. That's how we're going to get the lines, and we're going to be 5 again. It's a lot of fun.
So listen, you guys, when I messaged Jen before Dallas and said, I'm not the best painter. There's certain things I can do really well when I paint, and there's other things I stay away from that I'm afraid of. Can I do this? And she said, yes, we're going to paint like kindergartners. So I was like, all right, I'm in. I'll try it.
And did we not paint like kindergartners? Was it
Well,
just
we did, but it's not just that. It's that you made it feel comfortable. Like, try it. It was, to me, if I had taken your class at Dallas, I took the class, I felt comfortable to come home and order something in and spend the money on shipping, although mine was free because I did Amazon Prime, but I felt comfortable to spend that money to try it again. Like, I enjoyed it that much. And I thought I can see like the look of it is so pretty on a cookie. I thought it would be gorgeous for something in particular that I'm not going to say because I may do it later. So I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I mean, not you, them. I'm not going to tell my group. But if you order this in, you might use it later for something very particular. I give away everything, Jen. So I always have to just pull back for a minute because I can't keep the surprises. I get so excited about what's going on.
Me too. I was surprised I was able to keep quiet about my show for as long as I did.
I can't believe you did either because we discussed several Food Network people between when I first met you and when you actually admitted you had been on the show, and you'd already filmed and everything. You must have just been dying to answer the questions I was asking you, but you couldn't. You did very well. Food Network, you can have her on again. She keeps secrets fantastic.
I know someone posted and asked, how long is it going to be? I'm like, well, it's going to air until, the 12th or the 19th of December. And I said, I may or may not, I'll be on it
Yeah.
until I win or until I'm voted off.
So diplomatic, Jen. So diplomatic.
You got two choices.
Yeah.
I could be there or I couldn't be there. You never know.
And I can't say. Oh my
All
goodness.
right. So also, we're gonna start getting our palette ready, and we're gonna start painting. When I paint, I go light to dark, right? Because it's
Okay.
obviously easier to always layer your lighter colors. And with cocoa butter, could you take away some of the dark color? Sure, you just take warm cocoa butter and just start lifting it off, and it'll come off.
Okay.
The other thing is a really warm hand. I was playing, and your warm hand, if you rub it, right, will take it off
Oh,
as
look
well.
at
Like
you
you can
did
see right
take it.
here. I took
I
away
see.
some of the coloring.
Not too much
So
though. You did good. You did really
yeah,
well.
well, I was holding it. Oh no, you know what? It was when we were doing our live last week, and I had it by the heat, and I picked it up and
Oh,
I touched it. Right, I had it. I have a
and it
lamp
lifted.
here,
Mm-hmm.
and it lifted. I'm like, ooh, we got to move that.
I don't know how you feel about time, but that was just last Monday night, and it feels like it was a month ago. Like
Oh
stuff
my
is at
god,
warp speed right now.
I know it's crazy. So so we're gonna start with the yellow. I
Okay.
don't know why. I like to just go. I'll do like my flower, and then I'll do my leaves. Usually when I'm painting
Gotcha.
flowers, and when I'm painting, I always use two brushes. So if you saw, I had four. I like to use one to put down the color and one to move the color. One is kind
Oh,
of like my shader, and one is my painter.
I gotcha.
So I'm gonna take literally just a dot. I'm going to drop a dot in here. And sometimes if too much goes in, not a big deal. All you have to do is add more powder. So
Look, you guys, how small that is. It's so small.
to change the vibrancy of the color, the more powder you have, the brighter the color. The more cocoa butter you have, the lighter the color is going to be when you put it down.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I put in that little bit, and I'm going to stir this up. And I'm now going to put my palette over on my heating pad. And so now what I'm going to do, we'll put the painted one next to it. I'm literally just going to dab a little bit on the tips here of where I know. And I'm not going to paint all of them at once because, like I said, it dries really quickly. And I'm just going to pull the color up.
Oh, I
I'm not
see.
going all the way because the red's going to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just doing a little bit on the ends.
But then you don't risk putting too much on there, so you're getting the shading
Yes.
by switching to that other brush. That's beautiful. And initially, when you did that first cookie, you had your photo next to you, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. And actually I have it here. So when I do the first cookie, I have the photo. Now, when I continue doing the same cookie, I will just keep the cookie next to me that I was working on.
Got
So,
it.
I mean, you can see some of this it turned a little bit orangey, and that's because I actually took some of the red and blended it into the yellow.
Okay.
Um, so that's how, so I can grab a little bit more color.
Wow, that
I'm
looks
just
so
pulling.
pretty.
That's it, right? That was simple. I mean, that was a 5-year-old. There's no real painting in that.
It looks beautiful already, Jen.
Thank you. So now I'm going to move to my pink because I want to give the red a base
Okay.
before I paint the red. Just because I saw some pink in it, and it looked like some of the leaves were kind of pinky. So I'm going to do once
Gotcha.
again just a little dot. Come on. Oh yeah. See now? See
Oh,
what
so
happened?
much. Yes.
So now I'm going to have to add a little bit more.
Someone did ask me when we got home from Dallas if we could have used a pipette to add it. And I told them I thought probably not because it's going to congeal in the tip of the
Yeah.
pipette, right?
That's what I would think. Yeah.
I didn't
I mean,
test it yet because I haven't got to play except that one cookie that I did. when I got
So
back,
once
the extra
again,
one.
I don't know because I've never tried it, but I would assume it would clog it. So as
Oh,
you
and
can also see, I'm
oh yeah.
not changing my paintbrushes. So
Okay.
depending on for the flower, because I'm going yellow, pink, red, I'm going to use the same two brushes. The
Okay.
reason I have two new brushes is I don't want to contaminate the green to have that
Gotcha.
red.
I gotcha. Someone did ask me about the cutter for this flower when they saw our post. You sell this,
Okay,
this cutter on your site, right?
I do. I do sell
Okay.
the cutter, and I actually sell a stencil to
Okay.
help with the lines. So I made myself a stencil to know exactly where to
To do your dimensional
to
piping.
do my dimensionals. So I don't have to
Okay.
think about it.
Okay.
And that's what I did with the sunflower with the butterfly. I did the same exact thing. I made
Gotcha.
myself. It's just
Gotcha.
easy for me. It makes it
Are
go a lot
there
quicker.
are there STL files and whatever
Yep.
version, the stencil files, so you can get the physical
Yep.
stencil and cutter, or you can get the files.
So I'm going to take the pink. I'm going to go on the other end. And now I'm going to blend down. So here you can see is kind of like where it's going to turn it a little bit orangey.
So
And this
pretty.
is really light because I put way too much cocoa butter in.
Jen, they're asking if when you're done, if you can save the leftover colored cocoa butter.
You
Can you?
can. So we've been through this before. Like you can save it on the palette. There's really not a way to get it out of the palette. I mean, you might
Right.
be able to pour this, but because you're using the wells, you're going to pour all of them.
All of it.
So you can save these plastic for sure, and then just drop this right onto a heating pad, and it will melt it again.
I
Oh,
would
I
think
did.
as long as I'm sorry, I was just thinking as long as they
Yep.
let it congeal, they could cover it with press and seal, couldn't they?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
They could. So my pink's a little kind of not as what I would really like because I put too much in. But
Love it.
what I was gonna say is you could melt your cocoa butter on the mug warmer. You can melt it on the heating pad as well, but it just takes a really long time. It takes about 45 minutes to and that's just doing 2 or 3 little wafers, not a
Right.
ton of them.
And
So
before someone asks, because they're going to, if you do let it congeal in the paint palette, because it's got the paint color or the dust color already in it, it probably should not go back in the microwave, right?
well, because the paint palette will probably, I've never put these paint palettes in the microwave because they're plastic, right? So you're not going to want to
They're
put plastic. I
they
don't think this
probably
plastic is
it's yeah, because they're not food safe. And the
right.
food safe thing, that's another one of the deals about food safe. Really, it's okay until the heat hits some of that stuff, and that's when chemicals are released.
Right.
So
And this
that
is
that
so,
would
I was going to say this is so like the heat of the cocoa butter right now and the heat of the heating pad's not that warm, but putting it in the microwave, yeah, I mean,
mhm,
microwave does weird things to chemicals, right? We
yes,
know that. So
right.
I wouldn't recommend at all putting the paint palette into the microwave. It won't take that long on the heating pad, 10 minutes maybe. I would say it's not a lot.
It
I
probably
wouldn't.
takes us longer to set up than that anyway, so just pop it on right when you
Yeah,
first go in.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely save it for sure. Have
I
I ever? No.
yeah.
I just clean my palettes. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's whatever.
I love that you're able to get all those different shades on your poinsettia too, instead of just red and then starting in royal icing, we would start with a lighter red and then dust. We dry dust or paint to
Right.
get the deeper shades. I love that you're able to get that much colored differentiation there.
So, okay. So that's color number 2. We're going to go to color number 3.
You guys
Sometimes I
look at
will.
that. She's only done 2 colors and look at that already. That's amazing. It's beautiful, Jen.
I mean, you could stop here, right? Because there are some poinsettias that are just pink. It's
Mm-hmm.
all totally up to you. Sometimes I will clean, on a paper towel just a little bit if it starts to get built up too much. And I'm getting, messy over here. So we're going to drop another dot, hopefully just a dot. We don't have the same problem.
Feel the
Okay.
anticipation here.
There we go. We got just a dot. We're good.
I
We're going to mix that up. And the other problem I noticed with the pink was I didn't mix it well enough. So like all the dust had clumps in it. So you do want to make sure you do get enough in there, enough cocoa butter to mix and melt the powder.
Okay.
So now I'm going to take my last and I'm going to go from the top because I wanted to try and keep some of those yellow points.
Gotcha.
And we're going to just blend it down. I think it's a little too thick. So it actually needs a little bit more cocoa butter.
Okay.
Because it's too saturated for my liking. So what I can also do, I'm going to put a little dot of cocoa butter in the middle. So that's just clean cocoa butter with nothing in it. I want to clean my brush because it was way saturated.
Gloria, she's using Crystal Colors by Sugar Paste, right?
Yeah.
The website is sugarpaste.com if you want to check those out. But I did test the Sugar Art Elite color, and it did work. But I've only done one testing. So if you're just joining us, we were saying that we're going to have a mad scientist night where we test all of these. Maybe when we get to Virginia in the springtime, I'll bring my stuff because I actually live in Virginia, and Jen and I are both going to National Capital Area Cake Show. Did I say it right, Jen? I get so tongue-tied on those. So maybe we'll do that one night.
Okay. So why I put a little bit, and a lot of times I did forget I would keep like a little plastic cup of cocoa butter on the side to do cleanings. So I want to kind of, I want to try and get some clean cocoa butter here because this is so saturated. I don't like it. But here's where you could see. I'm going to put some on and then wipe it off. This is how you can get away stuff that you don't like.
If it goes too dark.
Yep. You just kind of lift it out. This was a lot. This was really thick, so this may be too hard to do this petal. But yeah, it's coming out. It's coming off. It's just a little bit of work. Obviously,
Cindy in Louisiana is on right now. She's doing this with Sugar Art Elite colors, not the Master Elites, but the Elite, and she says it's working.
Oh, great! Good to know. Thanks for the test.
Do you know about Color Mill brand?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, I don't know either. We haven't tested that one yet, but that's not saying we're not going to, because you guys know we love the experiments.
So, all right. So this petal is not my favorite, but that happens, and it's okay. So I'm gonna just take a little bit more. I'm gonna put some more in this. This red became really too vibrant for me, too saturated. This is where I'm saying,
yeah,
where you can just add more cocoa butter and it's going to lighten it.
Love it.
And now you'll actually see the difference between when I was really saturated to see now this.
Look at that.
This has a ton more cocoa butter in it. Now this has too much cocoa butter again. So it's like it's a dance sometimes.
But look how well it's blending. It's beautiful.
So, I mean, this will just take, if I really wanted to get this vibrant red again, a lot of layers. Or I make another pile and you can always do that too. You can have a pile that's got a lot of cocoa butter, a little pigment, and then another pile that's got a lot of pigment, a little, so that you can layer that way as well. There's no hard, fast rules here. And as I've always said in all my classes, these are my way of doing things. It is not the only way of doing things. Just showing you how I like to do things. How how I figured it out for me and what worked for me. But I mean, I do like this one. I like that it's a lot, because even with my drawing that I had found, right? Like this one almost is more like this
Yes.
drawing, where this drawing was the original one I did.
Debbie is asking if this gives you a greasy mouth feel to it when you're eating it. I didn't feel like it did.
I didn't either. I mean, when you're feeling it, yes, you can feel the wax like on your hands. Like if you touch the cookie, you can feel it. I don't think it gave a waxy feel at all.
Unrelated question to cocoa butter painting, but related to the cookie world. How thick do you roll your cookies?
I'm a thin person. I only roll a 1/4 inch.
Okay. Do you like them a little bit crispier?
They're actually no, they're actually very soft cookies.
Okay. So thinner but soft.
Thinner but soft. I only they bake for about 10 minutes in the oven. That's it. They have, I guess you can kind of say they have like a crunch sort of on the outside, but the inside is
still soft.
Super soft.
Yeah, super soft. That.
I'm a soft cookie person. My husband's a soft cookie person. So
look, I can roll either way. It's been very difficult in my life to find a cookie that I have not gotten along with.
I know. So this middle section, all I did was actually, I would probably do a more saturated because this is a little too thin. And as you can see, I always, like a true artist.
How you're holding your brush? Is that what you're about to tell me?
Yeah. I always put it in my mouth.
You can't do that when you live stream a lot. You break a lot of habits.
Well, I'll still do it. It's who I am.
I think we're caught up on questions right now, but you guys, if anybody has any questions as she's painting, just drop them over in the comment and I'll post them up so she can see them.
So this is also one of the downfalls when there's too much cocoa butter. You can see how liquidy this is, and it's like here, right? When I laid this first petal, it just went on really thick because there was more pigment than cocoa butter. Now I have too much cocoa butter.
It's just pretty. It looks watercolor.
It's just different. It acts different. So you have to learn, and you'll find that medium on where. Could I paint on this again? If I let this centerpiece dry, I can then layer again, which we can come back to that. But speaking of dry, like these petals over here that we painted, they're dry. They're done. So I could come right now, I can get another darker color. And that's also how I got some of on the other one. I did wait until the petals had dried.
Shelly, she painted and she's asking how long it takes to dry. So of course it depends on how much cocoa butter she's adding, but those were probably dry in just a matter of minutes, if that, right?
Yes. Yeah. While we're talking, this was dried. All right. So I'm going to leave the poinsettia and we'll come back to that center point.
That's
gorgeous. Thank you.
It really, I mean, it looks beautiful and it looks very blended. You've got a lot of shades. It has a gorgeous watercolor look.
Right. And as you can see, like we were just talking and I was just slapping color on. Like I wasn't really painting. Like there was no skill. I was just slapping colors on and moving it around. So and the cocoa butter did that blending itself and it made those orange colors and it was totally, I wasn't really paying attention. We were just talking. And as you can see, I wasn't paying attention. There's like, painting all over the place. But this is how easy I think cocoa butter is. Beautiful. Like you don't need any skills of being a painter. It's just throwing color on the cookie.
So pretty. Right.
So we're gonna do the green now.
And guys, if you're just tuning in with us, that Pyrex measuring cup has about 3 or 4 chips of cocoa butter in it that she melted down, and she's keeping it liquid. Can you see the cord in the upper right-hand corner of the large screen? She's keeping it in the melted consistency by just keeping it on a heating pad off to the side. Shelly is asking, when they dry, can they be bagged? And she's saying you can't stack them, can you?
So yes, they can be bagged. Can they be stacked? Once again, because cocoa butter's heat, dependent on the heat, they can
Right.
be stacked in cooler temperatures because they're not going to rub. That's what you have to worry about is the rubbing.
But you could also just put them upright in a bakery box once they're bagged, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The main thing, you guys, is you would really, if you're going to sell these, you have to make sure your customer knows this is not an item you can leave in a hot car.
Correct.
Right?
These are very heat sensitive.
How fast temperatures go up. If it's warm outside, even if it's spring or fall, the sun hits, the car warms up, and then that cocoa butter is just going to go liquid again, correct?
Well, I've never left it, so I mean, I'm going to assume it's going to go liquid again.
I could test that, but not now because it's too cold.
I mean, I can't. It's gonna definitely do something to it. Will it go liquid again? I'm not sure, but the slightest touch, it may affect what the painting on it.
I would think it would get tacky and just stick to the bag a little bit, but we can
That's
test
what
that.
I'm thinking more than it's not going to go liquid where it's going to start running off the cookie, but you're going to have transfer.
You really don't have enough on there, even with the buildup and the layers, that it would go back to like running off the cookie level, right?
Right. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking the only thing it's going to do is it's going to start rubbing off on the bag.
And with that amount of color you had, if somebody was doing a whole bunch of these cookies, like there seems to be quite a bit left in there. What do you think that would do? What you measured out, a dozen cookies, 18?
No, like, see, the yellow's almost done. You probably, because I had such a small amount, I'm going to say it actually all depends like how much cocoa butter you're putting into the powder, right? So the pink is going to go a really long way, but I don't know if this will even do a dozen.
Okay. And how intense you want the color, right? If you want that really dark red you initially had, that's going to take more.
So, I mean, here's the thing. When I brought my colors to Dallas, right, I want to say I had something like 60 students. I don't even think I used half of my container of colors, and I didn't even go through a whole bag of cocoa butter. So this is the leftover cocoa butter that I had. This is the bag I started in Dallas, and I had, so this is what I have left. I have all that left.
I mean, really, if you want to experiment, guys, this is a good one to get in with because you just need a couple of colors. You can use an ice cookie flooded in white. She also said earlier, if you're just joining us, that you can paint directly on a naked cookie.
Yeah, which I can actually, let's do that. So let's take this cookie over and paint.
Oh, yeah. Nice alternative if you have somebody that wants coloring, but they don't want royal icing or glaze.
And it blends as well, not as nicely as the icing, but it'll still blend.
How about doing this on buttercream? Can you do this on buttercream? No, because the fat content.
Yeah. And my guess is it's going to melt that buttercream, right? Because buttercream doesn't harden like icing hardens.
Right.
So you're just going to dig into it.
Even the crusting buttercream, I would think that the buttercream crusted parts would pull away. But again, we didn't test it. So if you're a cake decorator and you want to test it, take pictures and report back. We welcome the mad scientist experimenting.
So I'm going to go to my darker green now. And just like the other one, I'm going to start at the top.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Painting so fast and not careful.
Idea if there's a shelf life on the bag of cocoa butter?
There is. It had an expiration date. So I bought this bag beginning of this year, and it says 8/2022.
Oh,
so it's a year and a half shelf life.
Okay. And they're asking, does the cocoa butter do anything to the dried royal icing?
No. It just lays right on top of it.
When we tested it, it didn't. When we did our class in Dallas, it literally, it didn't do anything to the icing. I was shocked. It didn't pit it, nothing. It just really went smoothly, glided right on top of it.
All
Jen,
right.
does it matter for this project, like as long as they have two contrasting green colors?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just it's a light green and a darker green.
Okay.
And I will say, no matter how many times I painted with the greens, and it may just be the colors that I'm picking because I always pick kiwi,
Okay.
because I like it.
Okay.
Again, it's a green that I like. It's very thin. It's very hard to get an intense color on the greens that I pick. And I don't know if that is just because of the greens that I'm picking. But
those greens look great with the yellow and pink and red. They look perfect.
I am going to grab actually one more brush quickly.
Okay.
Because I did forget.
While Jen's away from her computer, can you see that wall in the background? Because she's not going to brag on herself. I just want y'all to know that's all cake awards and ribbons and magazine covers behind her. Like, she is incredibly talented, both cake and cookies. Can you see all that, you guys? Maybe we'll get her to turn her camera a little bit in a few minutes.
Okay. So
you just keep going. I'll handle the press release.
We'll turn it after we're done. What I do like to keep is a brush when I'm doing white, right? It's so hard to clean a brush. Can you clean these brushes? Sure. And they are gonna, I don't know if you noticed, like this brush started going wonky on me because it's the cocoa butter in there.
Right.
You can clean these just right, cleaning cocoa, hot water and soap.
Gotcha.
But as you're working, right, it's the cocoa butter is drying on these bristles. So even though you're putting it back into warm cocoa butter, it's melting it a little bit, but it's gonna get caked up. So when I'm doing white, I like to keep it a fresh one. No caking. You can, like I showed before, you can dip this in. We'll make another little puddle.
For when you do white, is that what you're saying? You like white to have its own? Yeah,
white should always have its own, but this has a lot of reds and stuff in it. So I can put this in the warm cocoa butter and then brush it, and it's cleaning the brush. Okay. So I do recommend keeping like a little area where you can dip and clean. So as you can see, as I'm doing it, it's getting less and less.
What did we have? Did we just have like a little condiment, a 1 ounce condiment cup with some? Is that what we had?
The Jello shot cup. The Jello shot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would recommend, keeping that on the side. And just one of those, or another. Use the top of your palette here, like you can see, it's cleaning the brush, but I still wouldn't dip this into white because you're never going to fully clean it.
Right.
But what I did do was, now that I clean this, I'm going to dip this into my darker green again.
Wow.
And I'm going to make sure I have a point on this brush. And what I did first was I just kind of did lines. I didn't move them. Sometimes I'll even make another puddle that it's less cocoa butter to the pigment. But I was just kind of doing the veins just a little bit, like just a hint of them in there.
Beautiful. It looks very much like your drawing, by the way.
Those aren't my drawings. I found them on Google.
Okay, let me rephrase that. It looks very much like the drawings that you chose to use for the project. Okay. We don't want to give anyone the wrong idea.
I'm not an illustrator. I'm not a painter.
But you see how closely you're replicating that. I mean, it's really beautiful.
Well, because I do have art ability. Yes, I was a graphic designer, so I mean there is art. Right. But I've always been able to mimic. That's So I don't even remember. It was I think the Art Institute in New York or whatever. They had that mail away test you could take to see how you could draw. I had like a little turtle on it. I did it when I was like 7 years old, and I got it spot on. So like I knew I could draw, but I could mimic, right?
I
I've always been
gotcha.
able to mimic draw. I've never been able
Okay.
to just draw.
That
I
makes
need,
sense. No, it makes
I
sense.
need,
You need just a visual.
yes. Okay. So I've got my little veins in here. They're really light. There's not much to them. But to make them pop, this is when I'm going to add the white. Oh, and while we were talking, let's dip into the red again. So this is all dry, right? I'm going to dip back into the red and I can make this darker.
Oh, wow.
Because we're layering. It is melting what's under it a little bit, but it's still going to layer on top without a problem.
Okay. And melting what's under it really is just automatic blending without brushing it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So for white, I tend to put onto the side. I'm not going to pour right into the white because I want the white to be thick. So I want that one to be a more concentration of powder.
Okay. That's a great tip.
Cocoa butter.
Tell them that one more time, okay?
So I put the cocoa butter on the side and I pull the cocoa butter into my white because I want it to be more pasty. I don't want it to be thin. Because when it is thin, if there's too much cocoa butter, that's when it's going to actually blend into, right? It's going to just melt into the other colors. You're not going to keep
it that way is going to give you a very opaque color versus translucent, right? That's what you want for this.
Yeah, because I want
like your highlighter.
I want to be able to see this white. So now I'm just gonna lightly pull, and these white lines will stay now. They won't fade away.
So Bobby, that's on here with us, said she used to see that turtle in every magazine. She'd forgotten about it.
I'm showing my age, I know, when I talk about that. I think he was wearing like a turtleneck or something.
That's exactly.
And for the longest time, I kept that application, and like, so I had my mom send it in, and they're like, you are great, but you're a little young when you're out of high school. Let us know.
That's so funny. I was worried about dating myself earlier when I said Uggs, but I guess they're coming back again, so I might be okay for a few years.
I think you are. Everything comes around, right?
That's right. If you just keep it long enough and take care of it.
I'm sorry I didn't keep any of my clothes from the 80s. Because, my wigwam socks are probably going to come back in style soon.
Oh, my goodness. What are wigwam socks? Why don't I know about those?
Okay, so am I showing? So
I don't know. I used to have the rainbow socks with individual toes. Is that what you're talking about, or is this something different?
So Wigwam was a brand.
Okay.
And they were like these poofy socks. Like, so, I mean, and maybe it was like a New York, because I grew up close to New York. So
were they
we would take our socks and push them down, and you get like
yes.
So you got like this.
I don't own any more of those, but they're going to come back one day.
I miss my wigwams.
They're going to come back soon. We're due for that to cycle back. Look at how gorgeous.
So that's we're done painting. Like that's it. So the other thing I did, and yes, this didn't take. We've been doing this a half an hour, but we've been bullshitting.
You would have been done in like 10 minutes if I hadn't been asking you questions.
Yeah, and we're joking around, we're having fun. This doesn't take long. But the other thing I did, right, I just put like a little dabble.
Is that just royal?
That's just royal.
Okay, what you did the flooding with, right? The dimensional piping.
Just so I can get a couple of.
Oh, those are so pretty. And you made me so happy because you added a candy or sprinkle, whatever you want to put that category in. I like that. At least every cookie, one of those. So you see they're hitting the laugh button because they know I do that all the time.
Right.
It is gorgeous.
That's the cookie.
Any tips for people just starting? Like anything that like after you practice for a while, you were like, oh, I wish I knew this when?
So, I haven't changed the way I paint. This is how I've done it since I started playing with it. It's still, to me, it's a very beginner level way of painting. And that's just how I do things.
Do you ever select your designs based on how many colors, or do you select a design and then make your cookie, and then however many colors you need?
I select my design, make my cookie, and then yeah. So like, but I tend to, I was thinking when I was looking for it, I'm like, I didn't want anything with tons of colors, especially for a class. Like, I'm not going to do something that's going to take me tons of colors. So we had discussed, for Reno, I'm going to be doing this.
I was wondering if you were going to show him. So guys, this is what she thinks she's going to do for Reno Cookie Con in March of 2022. Yeah. She's going to be an electives teacher there. So you guys take her class. By the way, she gives good swag too. I'm just saying. Normally electives teachers, there's not a lot of swag, but
they don't.
We left with an extra cookie to paint. We had a box to put both our cookies in. We had a cookie cutter. Didn't we have a cookie cutter? I feel like I have a cookie cutter.
So I will be giving away the cookie cutter for this.
Nice.
The shapes what we do is the cookie cutter that I give away.
So beautiful. You picked great colors again, by the way. I mean,
I know
we did yellow and blue kind of because we did the sunflower and the butterfly, but this is very, very dramatic.
So this is where I was saying, like this hummingbird has green, blue, purple. And there's like two blues. I'm going to stick to I would do a green, a blue, and a purple. So this has more colors than what I would use. I would want to stick to 3. And this and this flower, I don't even know what kind of flower this is, but I love it. I would probably stick to 2 yellows and an orange on this one. Like the way I'm looking at this, there's a light yellow, a golden yellow, and an orange. And that's how I would use it. And I would make
hibiscus. Is it a hibiscus?
I don't know flowers enough to know. If anybody knows, let me know.
And Cindy is asking she stuck that on with just a little bit of royal icing, the beads.
Yeah.
They're edible gold beads for the center, and they're just on with royal icing. And Bobby would like to know if you can freeze these once they're decorated or not recommended.
I have not tried. Once again,
Jen, can you know what?
I will throw these in the freezer.
Yeah, heat seal it and throw one in, because I would be curious to know if that makes the cocoa flake off or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like constrict and then make it lose its grip.
Yeah.
And they're saying hibiscus.
I'm feeling the condensation will probably affect it.
Like when you bring it out. Now, when you bring your cookies out of the freezer, though, when I do mine, they're heat sealed, then also in an airtight container. And because I don't trust airtight containers, I'll get a layer of press and seal. So when I snap that lid on, I'm really sure there's a seal. That's how I do that. And then when it comes out, it stays just like that on the counter for hours, like 3 or 4 or 5 hours, until it's totally thawed before I even take the lid off. I don't go freezer to fridge to counter. I go freezer to counter, and it stays just like that.
Yeah, that's all I do too. Is freezer to counter, but I don't do the press and seal. So I usually just put it in an airtight container.
Yeah, and then, even though I have those Rubbermaid containers that are supposed to be airtight, I feel like maybe not.
I never had an issue with them.
Yeah, I had one that I had in royal icing, and I was like, this couldn't have been airtight for my icing to look like this right now. But I was able to reconstitute the icing. But so then I just got nervous about it and looked up internet hacks, on YouTube, and the press and seal over the top and snap the lid. I figured it's pennies for my sanity, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because I only ever have had to do that when I'm working on a super big order that I can't do that many in just a couple of days. So
Right,
then
right, right.
you know you're not going to have time to redo it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
only it only matters when you have something like that going on, and then you don't want to be fooling around because you can't redo it if something goes wrong. But
Yeah,
I
see,
would love to know that.
I don't do, I don't do big orders. I mean, I do orders, but I'm not supposed to, but I do them. I applied. I should hopefully have my cottage license soon.
I gotcha. I gotcha. You will. So
I'm hoping.
show them all that, and let's give them a chance to. We don't want to keep her
There's my
too long because we chatted
there's
so
my
long
mom.
the other night. I know. Look at that. It's very impressive. And
Thank you.
I cannot wait to see what you're going to enter. Well, first I want to say this. I can't wait to see what you're going to enter in Reno. And then I'm super excited to see what you're going to enter at the National Capital Area Cake Show. And then I forgot to ask you when we did our preliminary last week on Monday.
Hmm.
I think I forgot to ask you what you entered at Dallas at CookieCon. Did you enter anything?
I did. I entered a Kraken. Let's see. The piece broke on the coming on the way home, so I don't have it.
I
But
gotcha.
let's see. It's on my Facebook page. I think I got it up there.
Okay. Well, we'll check that out.
Trying to see if
And if
there's not really a
anybody's with us still on the live feed that was not here when we first started, drop a comment over in the comment field and tell us where you're watching from tonight. Did you only enter one piece, Jen?
I did.
Okay.
And it
Is
was a
that
last
normal?
minute. For CookieCon, yes. Yeah, I
You
only
just
enter one category.
where
And
what
I
do you
usually
ever
do the
anything goes so that you can prepare ahead? Is that what you do?
no, I was gonna say I usually do that big collaboration one too.
Okay.
So like I did do a couple of cows this last
Okay.
time. But the Kraken was literally a 2-day cookie so I was prepping. I wasn't planning on entering in Dallas because of the prepping to be an electives teacher. So I was like, there's just no way. So I ended up finishing early. So I was like, all right, let me see. And I had this idea of wanting to do a Kraken. So I so what I
I
did.
gotcha.
But yeah,
So
I usually
Jen,
do the anything goes.
when you were doing your prepping, did you bake and flood all your cookies and brought them with you? Was that the prep you had to do before you came on top of your full-time job and then flying? So you want to talk
Yeah,
Reno for a second?
sure.
So I
Sure,
got
sure.
some alert tonight from the airline that they've already changed something with my flight, but when I logged on to try to figure out what it was, it doesn't show anything. So
Oh
I don't know
God.
what they're doing. So I hope all they did was like move my seat. I can deal with them moving my seat, but my
Yeah,
travel
yeah.
is super long. Well, I need to be by a window or no one's going to want to be near me because I just can't do the other. But
Yeah,
my
so I
travel
can't
day
deal
is
with
super
them.
long already, so I'm hoping they didn't do anything crazier than that to me. But we'll
Yeah, I'd
see.
be afraid.
So, Jen, where can we look for you? It's the 15th of November right now. Where can we look to see you before Reno? Any cake shows up in your area or that you're traveling to that local people could visit you?
Um, so I have a class at the Shortcake Supply in
Oh,
Ocean
yeah.
Township.
Okay.
I'm teaching a cocoa butter, and it is like the sunflower with the butterfly, but it's a
Okay.
bigger piece. It's 3 pieces.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's 3 cookies, so it's an all day where they'll flood the cookies and then we'll paint the cookies and all that.
Okay.
So you can, if you put it in dehydrator, for a couple of hours, you can paint on top of the royal icing. I prefer letting it sit overnight,
Gotcha.
just so that I know it's solid.
And someone is asking about humidity.
So it gets humid here. I haven't had moisture really affect, like in my house, it's not humid. Outside it is,
Mhm.
in the summertime. And I know I painted the sunflower in the summer. So I didn't notice that
It's
much.
more
And this
that
is where we're going to check the condensation would be the same thing as humidity. So when I
Right.
do my freezer test, we'll know.
Because it's more the heat, right, than the humidity.
Yeah.
Because it's going to set up as soon as it starts to cool off.
Right.
And Sally's here from South Florida. We've got Pennsylvania. April's here from Northern Kentucky. We've got Tampa. Who's our West Coast people? Do we have any Westies on with us right now? We went later to see if you guys would be able to join us. So we're checking our time slots to see who can find us. So if you're on and you're a West Coast, or like Camille's on, she's more west than east. She's not West Coast, but she's more west than east. So probably I think this was a good time, Jen. Hey, do you want to hear about something that's coming up? Sure. I don't see her on here tonight, but you follow Brooke Taylor, right? She does so she's going to come on and be a guest instructor, and I'm not sure exactly what she's doing, but she's going to visit the Cookie Snack Attack group and do something with isomalt. And I do remember something that she said, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because she may change her mind, and I want her to have the freedom to do that. And I don't want to blow a surprise, but she's going to visit us at some point too.
Very nice.
So Jen, anything else you want to come back on and do before the end of the year, or anytime you want to visit us, just reach out.
I will. So the end of the year right now is going to be a little crazy for me. Because I have lots of orders, lots of classes.
And we have to, do you have your cookie completed for CookieCon? Okay, so I'm going to do mine. I'm going to do mine the week of Thanksgiving. Oh, and we've got Alabama. Is it Dothan,
This is as far as my cookie is.
Jen, that's gorgeous. Is that how big our cookie's going to be? How big is that?
4 inches wide, I think.
I'm saying how big our cookie's going to be. Like, I already got your class, but I have to sign up just like the rest of you. So I'm hoping I can get in her class.
It's 4.5.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if we end up teaching on the same day, I'm going to need to have that cookie.
Okay.
You're going to have to set one aside for me. I'll do the same for you.
So I told them I want to teach Saturday. So last time in Dallas.
Because I think I did that too, because you told me to do that so that my Friday I could be in the regular classes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm low on the totem pole.
Well, I mean, so, on that survey that they just sent out, they asked Friday, Saturday, or both. And in Dallas, I actually put both.
And you got Saturday?
And I got Saturday. And I'm like, you know what? I really like Saturday.
Yeah. After you told me that, I was like, you know what? I think, because I'm not just going there to teach, I'm going there to take classes and to learn, right? So I thought that might, if I could get on Saturday, that would be good.
I'm hoping.
I'm gonna. I'm going.
I don't know how many people want Saturday versus. Because I mean, there's a lot of philosophies. Like, I think on Saturdays, a lot of people signed up for my class and never showed up because they were wanting to go to all the open demos. So you're competing with the demos. Yes. So I don't know.
I'm just gonna hope that I get a smidge more sleep, a smidge more restful sleep than what we did at Dallas with fire alarms and screaming children and people beating on the door in the middle of the night playing Ding Dong Ditch or whatever that game is. I mean, I'm hoping I'll just get a little bit more sleep, and then I won't mind teaching on Saturday, right? Because that's the last day.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also the thing. Like, people are exhausted by then, so they're probably dishing classes. So I don't know if people want to do Saturday or not. If I should ask Karen, like, what's the
what's the deal? And the other thing I was worried about is teaching on Saturday, because I noticed that I can usually keep my accent in check unless I'm tired. But I did notice that the more progressively exhausted I got throughout the week by trying to go to everything I was supposed to be at, that it was a little rough by Saturday. So I hope I'm okay on Saturday to teach. I'm just going to make myself go to bed really early Friday night. There isn't anything Friday night except the games and stuff, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I am going to go ahead and end our live stream unless you want to tell them about anything that you want them. Tell them you'll go back in and load your website, right? So they can
Yeah.
purchase the cutter. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you're participating in first quarter of 2022?
Right now, the only thing I'm signed up for is Reno and National Capital, and then I'm going to SoFlo, but I'm not teaching there. I'm just going. So if anybody's
And
going to SoFlo, we could say
yeah,
hi.
and that's in April. So if you guys want to have dinner or something, and April's saying, "Don't keep it. I can't help it." My mother like grammatically corrected everything and like tried to work that out of me my whole life. So I do a really good job until I'm tired, and then I cannot help it. But Jen, this was so great and very generous of you to give your time to us tonight.
My pleasure.
I hope you're enjoying the other stuff that goes on in the group too. And I can't wait until your show is up where I can grab YouTube links and drop it in the group for everybody to watch.
Yeah, I don't know how long it takes for stuff to get to YouTube.
It'll be there. At least the first one should be there soon, and then I'll put them up until they take them down so that people can see it. But would you do another one? Did you enjoy it enough that you would do another one? Now, would you do the same show, or do you have your eye on another one of the Food Network shows?
So I don't know if they'd ever take me back for doing the same show. Like I don't think I've ever seen somebody do the same one. Like they might take me back for Halloween Wars.
But not holiday. I gotcha. But what about like the Christmas cookie challenge or the gingerbread challenge?
I would love to do both of them.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, if you get on the gingerbread one, I want to go. I'm sure you have people that are much more qualified, but if there's anyone else out there that would like a gingerbread partner, I'm down for gingerbread.
So I just sent the link.
I don't know if you'll win, but I'd love to go.
One of my partners from Holiday Wars, he's big into gingerbread. So I found the casting link for it, and I sent it to him today. And I'm like, I know he said he wanted to do another show again together. I was like, well, if you apply, I'll be your assistant.
Is that what it is on the gingerbread? It's a main person and assistant? Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll be the assistant's assistant and do the behind the scenes interviewing. Food Network, please call me. I'll be the one running around getting all the dish when no one thinks they're being filmed, because I would totally love that. Oh, but then you might not get invited back. So, there's a trade-off there. Well, thank you. We so appreciate this.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any questions over there before we sign off? I gave them like a minute. Oh, Lavelle is saying it's on cable already. So Disney Plus. We were watching
Disney Discovery.
Oh yeah, that's right. Disney Discovery. My husband and I were watching old gingerbread episodes tonight while I was trying to upload everybody's tracking number on their limited edition Christmas kits. We were I was listening, he was watching, and then he'd say, "Look at that." I'd be like, "No, I have to finish this update." I had such technology challenges today. USPS updated, Facebook did another update on me, and then my import software that I use to bring everything from my Stripe over, that just went nuts today too. And I was like, oh, I just give up. I just closed my eyes for an hour and just was like, please God, make this work. All right. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast, and Jen, hang out with me for just a second.
Sure.
And thank you again. And bye, guys. We hope you have a wonderful night. Bye.